What's up, guys? How we doing tonight? Familiar faces here, so we'll get right into it. What did we say we expected for on the pre-week, right? The weekly outlook early this week. Let me just zoom out so this adjusts. We anticipated a classic bye week or a classic sale week just in general, but in this specific case, we were bullish. Why? Because of the news. What did we do? Well, Monday formed Tuesday on NASDAQ, but with SMT, right? So classic bye week, low of week formed on Monday or Tuesday. If we go down to the 4 hour, just to revisit this, we already did the full PA review on it, but we had SMT with 4 hour swings, if I'm not mistaken. Or I guess it wasn't 4 hour swings, probably 1 hour then. I do want to revisit what formed the low of the week, which seems to be on Monday now that I'm seeing it correctly. I'm not looking at the right spot. All right, guys, bear with me. Yes, so right here, there we go. So swing with Monday's low, SMT formed the low of the week. And what was our objective? Sorry, guys, I am trying to get situated. What was our objective? Well, very simple. We were on a daily chart. Even though there was divergence at the highs, I saw the relative equal highs above a need to hit target, if I can say it like that. So I thought that NQ was still going to get to these high levels, and then we could start looking for short retracements. We had our fair value gap above marked out. More specifically, we had the weekly fair value gap marked out, which, as you can see, lines up beautifully with our relative equal highs, which we were targeting. So definitely perfect delivery this week. But once we start going intraday, that's where it not messes up, but that's where it gets a little more complicated. So definitely on Thursday, we formed a high, big expansion lower. With such a range, you would not anticipate Friday to be a nice day, if I can say it like that, to beat low resistance, to flow easily. You would anticipate that Friday would consolidate into a close, which is exactly what we did. Now, there was still opportunities. Were there any high probability opportunities? There was one which would have stopped you out. So today will be a weird one, and we'll get right into it. So we had news, which I do not remember at what time. Let me verify because I don't want to say bullshit here. Our news, yeah, so PC 8:30 news. So what do we look for? Well, we look at 8:30 and we look for a Judas swing to form at this time. What did we have? A move to the upside, taking out liquidity. After the displacement from Thursday, bias could have been short. And why is that? Well, look below. Even though there was SMT at this point, right? We can see the SMT here. These are equal lows. So I understand that later on, after of course this SMT pushed our move, right, Thursday afternoon, understand that these relative equal lows will be a big objective. And as you can see right here, we also had equal lows below. And let me just find out the target. There we go. And we also had a London framework, right? 2 to 5 a.m. Overnight, we have taken out London buy side, so the high of London, and can now target London lows. So you had a clear London framework. At our news event, you had a manipulation, taking out liquidity at a key time, right? Because it is associated with our news. You can see the fair value gap above. That is our daily fair value gap, but we know that anything above these equal highs, hence why I'm leaving this level on the chart, is inside of our weekly fair value gap. So higher time frame point of interest, everything is present. Now all you're missing is SMT. Just on this 15-minute chart, I'm looking at this swing point specifically, which yes, isn't a swing point on NASDAQ, but we can still utilize it. It actually seems like it's lower. So I was looking at this swing point, which has taken out on both. Okay, so SMT I utilized was not on the 15-minute. Oh, yes, it is. All right. As I said, getting situated was a rough day. I spent a lot of time in front of charts, way too long in front of charts. But as you can see right here, and more specifically at 10 a.m., right? So you have our 9:30 open, which there is no divergence at that point. The swing from the news stays intact. But ES remains very bullish all the way up until there is SMT between both assets, which then leads to a nice bearish delivery to our objectives, like we said, right? Relative equal lows and London lows. If we also do this in advance, because we're going to look for a setup afterwards, but you have your draws. So first of all, you have your main draw, which is your objective, right? Higher time frame objective is the external range liquidity below this range. Now, of course, I'm not drawing that precisely. I'm just showcasing it. So below this range, there is liquidity resting, equal lows as well. So this is an important liquidity pool that I understand. So that's my draw. But I'm never going to hold a trade from the top of here all the way down here. So I have important points in liquidity, London RAID framework, and relative equal lows. And in a higher time frame, right? I was looking at a 15-minute chart. These are things I can target to remain precise. As you can see from the delivery, it was very high resistance. Now remaining here, we'll actually go back to the 15. Remaining on a 15-minute chart, from one point can you start shorting? Well, for me, I'm looking for a confirmation of downside. So I'm going to look for my 1 minute setup to form my entry model. But truth is, inversing this fair value gap is what gives me my signal. So if we go down to the 1 minute and look at New York Open, all of this is pre-New York Open. Then at 9:30, what do I see? Well, I see a clear bearish delivery. Sure. But markets are, well, first of all, there was no SMT at this point in time. Let me just move this, which was our manipulation. There was no SMT at this point in time, right up until at 10:25, we started having SMT. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, sorry, I was verifying. But 10:25, we just started having SMT. We also had some short-term SMT in the meanwhile, which we will look at. But just looking at these markets, definitely uncorrelated, very uncorrelated markets. So these are not high probability conditions as I framed. But inversing this 15-minute gap, which happened at 45, right? We closed below. If you visualize the 15-minute candle from 9:30 to 9:45, this is our open and our close is right, oh, wrong candle, right here. So now trading back into this gap gives me my signal that, hey, I can start looking for shorts. And at this point in time, there was SMTs on both sides of the range. So you need to wait for a raid. What will signify a raid for me? I need an energetic move. Oh, sorry for that notification, guys. I need an energetic move taking out the range that I'm forming. So for example, right now I'm forming a range. So first of all, we expanded lower. And now all that we've done is formed a range and are trading within, right? We're staying boxed in this range. So for me to start looking for a trade, I first need us to have an energetic move to the upside to then confirm that I can look for sell side ideas. Now that move happened here and there was a lot of divergence that we can look at, right? More specifically with this swing point, right? If we look at it, I just want to verify because this seems weird. Timing seems weird a little bit. But yes, so you had short-term SMT beforehand if we just look at these swing points. So from then on, I'm looking for shorts is what I was trying to say. Why did I not short this, which was a unicorn right here? Very simple. I don't have any confirmation that I can start looking for shorts because I have no clear New York Open Judah swing. And yes, that Judah swing was present with our news, but I still want to see that Judah swing at 9:30 open, and 9:30 open ran on side, and so I would be waiting for my manipulation to happen. Here you have a confirmation. It was also within our 15-minute fair value gap. Well, actually, we have the lines on our chart right here. And yes, it is far above, but on the 15-minute chart with our candle opening at 10 a.m. right here, we are still within this gap. Let me actually place, I don't have my key times. Okay, let me move these back here. I must have deleted it. And historical sessions, awesome. So now you have 10 a.m. open right here, open, high, SMT. This is, I'm forgetting the word I use for it, potential high of time window, pretty much. So in this case, the 4-hour candle, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., I am considering that this has a high chance of being the high of the candle. Why? Same logic as we always use. SMT, taking out liquidity, right, because of the SMT, and of course raiding this consolidation. with, as to repeat myself, SMT, when 10 a.m. open, key time. And then I get my reaction to the downside. Due to this, I am looking for the first bearish breaker to be formed. And you'll see it is a special one. All right. So I said at the beginning that you would have gotten stopped out. Truth is, you would not have. If I look right here, you have fair value gap, order block, you have liquidity above here, but you have this order block as well, which you could utilize. Truth is, you don't have a very nice third PD array, so I just use the swing point. Oh, no, there is one. Inversion fair value gap right here. So fair value gap, order block, inversion, fair value gap. So my stop will be at the high of this candle. Definitely seems chosen in this specific point in time. But to your low-hanging fruit, which in this case would be these relative equal lows, right? You can frame it as original consolidation if you trade market maker models. You had a very nice trade. But truth is, I'm never taking money out of a trade and then holding on to it, right? Best case scenario today, you didn't trade. That is the very honest truth that I can give. Personally, initially I was looking for longs. I did not view the news well enough, and I was looking for longs after this first move down, got chopped up here, got a loss, and then I just decided to stop. I had already placed a trade during London as well, so just a very slow day. And yes, if your model is to turtle soup and this was a perfect entry, then you had a beautiful delivery day because you didn't care that it was high resistance if your entry was here, right? And you had 200 handles almost of delivery. The truth is, very high resistance retracement to a close for Friday. And in the PM session, well, we did have a lunch trade, but we had a double-sided lunch trade. We'll look into it in a second. But for the morning, I would only have been looking for shorts as distribution. And as I stated, there was no clean short in my book. So definitely not the best, if I can say it like that. We'll remove these drawings and move on to the PM session, because as we have stated, our objective was London low. What can you see here? Well, both assets have taken London low. Sure, at different times there was SMT here, but we don't trade during lunch specifically. But if we look right here, at this point in time, there is SMT on the lows. So first of all, let me just plot that out. There is SMT on the lows with the end of lunch rate. What does that tell you? Well, this level, was taken out at this time. I can use SMT to understand that since ES has taken out this liquidity, I can treat NASDAQ as if it had. So I have a lunch rate framework to the upside. What's my objective? Lunch high. That's simple. What is lunch? Noon to 1:30. Why is it noon to 1:30 this time and not noon to 1? Because we've consolidated. If I have consolidation, I'm never going to expect it to raid free that, so basically at 1. But if you look in this specific case, if we look at 1, what did you had? You had a double lunch rate. So for example, if we look at the range from noon to 1 right here, you took out the highs here, then displaced lower, you had your unicorn at this level, and this took out lunch lows as we saw through SMT. But if you utilize the range from noon to 1:30, which in this case would be this, you see that through SMT we have taken out lunch lows and you have your pattern forming. What are you looking for specifically? Well, I need SMT. Then I need a breaker block. Why is this a breaker block? Very simple. Low, high, lower low, your manipulation leg, and then your reversal. Where would you enter? First overlapping PD array. Is there a close inversion fair value gap? No. As I said, I did not trade this, but looking back at it right now, I am sad I did not look at it because the morning was rough, and this is a super clean in and out trade. If we look at the stop loss, you have fair value gap. Is this an inversion? As I said, mechanical approach, so I don't care if it's a one tick inversion. If it's an inversion, then for me, it is a PD array to account for. So I see one above, but here, no, these are exactly equal. Not going to mess around with that. So fair value gap, inversion fair value gap to the left. And then the next closest one is the fair value gap right here. Stop loss would be at the low of the 1344 candle. And as you can see, very clear two lunch highs, 3.56. Seeing the delivery, I still would have taken profits halfway through. How do I find that out? Well, premium and discount. I'll use my premium and discount of this leg. Let me just remove the range for now. And I go into the 5-minute chart, and I want to find the first premium inefficiency of this. I have it right here. It is this order block. Why? Because it's the first in premium. That simple. We don't mess around. Mechanical approach. What do we have right here? Well, very low R for sure, 1.22. So for example, if I had 3 contracts, there's only one that I would take out at this specific level. But still, very nice delivery. And the rest of your position would have reached a full take profit. Then we can speak about a short continuation to the relative equal lows. But truth is, if you look at it, the only breaker that formed was at this point in time, and you had no clear entry because you had no displacement. No fair value gaps formed within here, no fair value gaps formed within here, all the way up down here. And once we're already here, as I've talked about last time, I believe, last PA review, which was yesterday, I'm a little bit lost. Once we are at equilibrium, pretty much, once we tap into equilibrium, then I stop looking for positions and I start looking to scale out of positions. So even if we go back up, this is just us retracing to a discount and then possibly go higher afterwards, even though there was SMT. So just for my specific model, I don't see this as a valuable setup. I see this as an A- setup on its best day. So definitely not interesting to me, but yes, there was SMT. Same logic we use in the morning, right? There was SMT, 2 p.m. candle open right here, open high, formed SMT right here at the highs, and then distribute lower. You had your fair value gaps, your breaker blocks that formed. You have one right here, you have another one right here, another one here. But truth is, you had no good entry. So you might have been looking for a short, but you could never enter one unless if you FOMO'd. So definitely not the nicest delivery day, but highest probability trade you could take, lunch trade framework to the upside. Was looking for longs early in the morning, so I'm sad to see it right now. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I am still human. I have emotions. Not a lot of people here tonight, right? Friday night, and you guys are all I'm trying to look for the word for it, but it is not your first time in here, so I'm guessing you guys don't have questions, but I'm open for it if you do. Thank you, Wolfie. Thank you, Wolfie. My goal is to teach you the way I see the market so that you can also see it as clearly. And yet, yes, of course, this is all hindsight, right? You have to remember that too. Like when I'm doing these reviews, this is not my trading performance. I talk about my trading performance, like today, I explained that I lost a trade in the morning and that was my day. But this is my model. And these are the trade I should be taking, should not be taken, and I bring you through the thought process of every single trade. So yes, this is hindsight. You have to remember that. This is not trade review and I never lose a trade, but we are analyzing the setups for the day and why and when you should have been looking for them. How could you have understood them? So yeah, thank you for your compliment. On that note though, guys, I'm going to wish you all a great night. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend. We'll speak more on Sunday for our weekly outlook. Have a great night, guys.